A few months ago, I had bought a new car, the Thar Rocks, and in that video, I had shared that I have an Excel sheet which has laid out a few different scenarios on how I went about financing my car. And so, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing that Excel sheet because a lot of you had actually expressed interest in understanding those scenarios. So, what I've done is there are four scenarios that I had evaluated initially, and then I added a few more scenarios because, hey, why not? I saw some reels around loans against mutual funds, loans against FD, and so I'm going to also be covering that today. The idea of this video is really to help you think about your car buying journey. This is personal finance, it's personal. There is no right or wrong answer. I'm going to be sharing how I thought about it. And hopefully, you can use this framework to take a decision for yourself, right? With that, let's jump in. Okay, so let's look at the first scenario. Scenario one, where you have bought it in your business's name, no loan. The ex-showroom price of the Thar Rocks, because I had made this for myself, that's why it's 14,42,000. The on-road price is 16,39,000. The down payment is 16,39,000. There is no loan amount, so all of this is irrelevant. Total interest paid is zero because you have taken this car down. But depreciation, let's get to that. Now, depreciation near one is at 15%. Why 15%? Because this is an ICE engine. If it was an EV, this would be at 40%. But at ICE, it's 15%. And so X showroom is 14,42,000. 15% of that is 2,16,000. In year two, you write down this value. So 14,42,000 minus 2,16,000 into 15%, that gets you 1,83,000 and so on and so forth, right? So over a 7-year period, you have a total depreciation of 9,79,728. The tax that you save on this is assuming your business can actually afford this depreciation. That is the biggest assumption. Your business's revenue and profits need to be high enough to be able to afford this depreciation, right? Now, the tax saved on this is, I have assumed 30%, but you can also assume 20% depending on which bracket your business falls in. You will have this Excel sheet so you can play around with it later. But for the sake of assumptions, let's move ahead with 30%. So the tax saved is 30% of this depreciation, 9,79,000 into 30% comes to 2,93,000 broadly, right? So that's the amount of tax you will save if you are buying in your business's name. Let's move ahead. Now, annual ROI. Now, we are also going to assume that because you don't have an EMI, because you have not taken a loan, what if you take that EMI amount and invest it in the markets at a 12% pre-tax and 10.5% post-tax? After the end of 7 years, how much money are you able to accumulate over that period, right? So that's as simple as that. So annual ROI post-tax, I've already said is 10.5%, which is 12% minus the tax, assuming you're in the highest tax bracket. Monthly investment is 19,512. How did I get it this? Nothing, simple. The down payment that you have made, 16,39,000 divided by 84, right? So assuming your EMI broadly, right? So 19,512 is what you are not paying as EMI. You will be paying a higher EMI, but I'm not taking that for a reason because it's like you getting leverage at a car rate of interest, which you won't get, and then putting it in mutual funds, which is not accurate. So just assume that you're taking 90,512 and putting it for 84 months. Amount after 7 years becomes 23,82,091, right? The total effective cost that you have, which is basically B12, which is essentially total cost of the car minus the tax that you have saved, minus the amount at the end of 7 years, is minus 10,37,009 rupees, which means that you are actually better off by 10,37,000 rupees after buying this car after 7 years, right? That's scenario number one. When you bought it in your business's name, in a no loan, amazing, right? Everything looks good. You actually made a lot of money. The car is paid itself and some more, is what the scenario one says. Can we do better? Yes, we can. Let's get to the scenario number two. By the way, this number is hard coded 23,82,091. So how did I get this? It's very simple. You just go to an SIP calculator in the platform of your choice. So for example, here, if I look at it, I put 19,512, 10.5% over a 7-year period. The total amount that you'll get is 23,82,091. Put that here as the amount after 7 years. As simple as that, right? Cool. Now let's move back. So that's your first scenario. We've obviously done really well here. We made money on this car. Not just this car, but your own money. You made your own money, right? And now let's get to the second scenario, which will come in this. When it comes to investing, there is one asset class that almost always doesn't get enough attention. That asset class is corporate bonds. The good news is that regulatory frameworks and digital bond platforms have enabled access to corporate bonds for retail investors like you and I. Vint Wealth is one such platform that facilitates access to corporate listed bonds for retail investors. The platform lists bonds typically rated BBB to A, offering fixed returns in the range of 9 to 12% per annum. They are a SEBI registered broker, and what I found interesting is that Wintwealth itself invests 2% in every bond that they list, which is a sign of confidence. The process is straightforward. You can invest via UPI or net banking, track everything on a dashboard, view repayment schedules. All bonds are exchange listed. Investors can choose to sell before maturity, though prevailing interest rates will apply at that point. If you're looking to balance your portfolio with a fixed return instrument, check out Wintwealth. I will leave a link to them in the description. And thank you, Wintwealth, for sponsoring today's video.
Fixed returns do not constitute guaranteed or assured returns. Investments in corporate debt securities, municipal debt securities, and securitized debt instruments are subject to credit risks, market risks, and default risks, including delay and/or default in payment. Read all the offer-related documents carefully.
Okay. Scenario 2. Again, you were taking it in your business's name, so you get the depreciation benefit, but you're taking it a loan, right? All of this is similar. 14,42,000 till here is similar. On-road price is similar. Down payment is similar. Loan amount is 14 lakhs. Interest rate is 8.5%. This is the interest rate that I was getting in a business's name. I was not able to get a lower interest rate because of, this not being a personal loan. This not being in my personal name. So at the 8.5% interest rate, term of 84, I got an EMI of 22,171. Okay. Total interest paid over a period of 84 months is 4,62,000. Total cost of the car therefore becomes 16,39,000 plus the interest that you've paid at the end of 7 years, and therefore it's 21 lakhs. The depreciation schedule remains the same. It's exactly the same. 15% depreciation on the X value of the car, X showroom value of the car, on a written down value method. Total depreciation is 9,79,728. Tax saved at 30% is 2,93,918. Similar from the scenario 1. Now come to the interest earned. How much are you actually going to be, because you've taken a loan, you have this 14 lakh rupees now. The assumption here is that you have this 14 lakh at the start. You could have bought it down payment as well, but you haven't. You've actually put this 14 lakh rupees into a mutual fund, which gets you 10.5% post-tax returns. Tax is extremely important. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. So take that into consideration. I have very simply what I've done is 12% is pre-tax, 10.5% is post-tax. That's why I've arrived at 10.5%. Principal invested is 14 lakh rupees. Amount at the end of 7 years is 28,92,123. How did I get at this amount? Again, very simple. You can go to any particular platform of your choice, compound interest calculator, principal amount 14 lakhs, rate of interest 10.5%, time period 7 years. Compounding frequency I've run quarterly. Actually, it should be even lesser than that, but this one particularly doesn't give, but it'll be broadly similar. 28,92,123. That's how we arrived at this number, 28,92,123. I could have put a formula there, but it would make it unnecessarily complicated. So I haven't done that. You can just play around with it and do it yourself. So now the total effective cost, again, same thing, right? Which basically means total cost of the car, including the interest, minus E23, which is a tax saved, minus the amount that you have actually made, which is after 7 years, which is 28,92,000. Lo and behold, you actually make a lot more money here, 50,000 better almost from this scenario, right? So 10 lakh minus 10 lakh 84,677 compared to minus 10 lakh 37,009. So scenario 2 is actually better than scenario 1 because your effective cost of car is even lower, right? And so that's why this scenario is better. Now let's move to the third scenario. In the third scenario, we are not going to be taking in our business's name. We are going to be taking it in the personal name. Okay. In the personal name, what changes? A few things change. Let's go through it together. The price of the car is obviously the same. On-road price 16.39, down payment 2.39, loan amount 14 lakhs. Interest rate changes. The interest rate which I was getting in the personal name was actually a lot lower at 7.6%. And so that's the big change. The term is 84 years. EMI, therefore, you see, is gone lower from 22,171. It has gone down to 21,543. Interest paid is obviously lower again because the EMI is lower. And therefore, the total cost of the car is lower. This is basically the interest that you're paying plus the on-road price. And that is lower than the scenario 2 at 20 lakh 48,000. But you get no depreciation here because obviously this is in personal name. And so that's a big loss. No tax saved. Again, a big loss. Interest earned. Now, annual rate of interest post-tax. Again, same thing that we looked at in scenario 2 is 10.5%. Principal invested 14 lakh rupees. This is the same amount. Because you have taken a loan, you can actually invest this amount in the mutual fund of your choice. I've taken a pretty conservative 12% pre-tax. An amount at the end of year 7 is 28,92,000, same as scenario 2. The total effective cost is minus 8,43,511, which is worse off than in the case of a business with loan, right? And so that's why Biggest reason being because there's no depreciation and there's no tax saved. That's why. Now, scenario number 4 is again in a personal name and you are not taking any loan. All right. Now, what happens in this scenario? Pretty straightforward again. You pay the whole thing as a down payment, 16,39,000, and so you have no loan. None of this applies to you. Interest rate zero, obviously, because you're not taking a loan. Total cost of the car is 16,39,000 because you're not paying any interest because, hey, you haven't really taken a loan. There is no depreciation again because there you've not taken in your business's name, so you're not saving any tax. At the end of it, your annual ROI post-tax of 10.5%, monthly investment, again, taking the same logic that because you have not taken a loan, you have monthly corpus, monthly EMIs, which you would have otherwise given. You're not giving those EMIs. You are giving it in the form of a SIP into this mutual fund. And so for the next 7 years, if you were to make a monthly SIP for 19,512, then you get 23,82,000 rupees at the end of this period. What's here to note is actually, if you notice, a 14 lakh rupee lump sum right now at the same rate of interest, 10.5%, gives you a higher amount of 28,92,000 as opposed to a SIP of 19,512. The principal amount will pretty much be the same over the course of the 7 years, right? But your amount after 7 years is actually lower here at 23,82,000. Anyway, coming to the effective cost, same logic applies. K12, which means total cost of the car, 16,39,000, minus the tax that you have saved, which is zero in this case, minus the amount that you have received at the end of 7 years in the form of your investments in mutual funds, that is 23,80,000. And so you come to a net benefit of 7,43,000. Great. Again, you have made money, more money than what you have spent on the car. So you're better off. But out of the 4 scenarios, this is the worst scenario where you have taken in your personal name without any depreciation benefits and you have not taken any loan, right? Scenario 2 is what 1, where you have taken it in your business's name, claim depreciation, and you have taken a loan. Even though the loan rate is higher at 8.5%, it still makes sense, right? So I think that broadly brings us to the 4 scenarios. The biggest caveat here being that your business needs to be able to afford this. And so you need to have a revenue or a net profit that can actually pay this depreciation easily and comfortably, and only then can you actually claim this tax benefit. There is also another added nuance I'm making this unnecessarily complicated, but so there is a presumptive clause, which also is something that you should look up. If your business falls under the presumptive clause, then these depreciations are useless because you cannot add over and above that. But ignore, keep it simple. Okay, moving on. Next is loan against FD. You can look at this in 2 ways. There's scenario 5. 5A is business name and 5B is personal name. Now, think of it this way, that if you already have an FD, then this is not a bad scenario because you don't need to break that FD and then you can get this. This is also a good scenario in case of a second-hand car. You can actually get a good rate of interest on the second-hand car. The way this works is that if you have an FD going at, say, 7%, the loan against FD will come at 1 percentage point higher than that, and so about 8%, right? And so that's what we've done here. Let's look at the assumptions. So ex-showroom price is the same, 14,42,000. On-road price is 16,39,000. Down payment is 2,39,000. Loan amount is 14 lakhs. Interest rate is 8%. Like I said, 7% is your FD rate. Plus 1 percentage point on top of that is what you'll typically get the interest at. You can negotiate, but 8% we take for the assumption. Term is 84 months. The EMI that you get on this loan against FD is 21,821. Total interest that you're paying at the end of the 7 years is 4,32,000. Total cost of the car therefore becomes down payment. Total cost of the car becomes your on-road price of 16,39,000 plus the total interest that you're paying of 4,32,000. Because it's in your business's name, you get to claim depreciation. You get the total depreciation of 9,79,000, tax saved at 30%, which is 2,93,000. Okay, let's come to the interest earned part. Now, here the annual ROI post-tax is 5%. Why 5%? Because your FD rate is 7%. You get taxed at 30%. So that's about 4.9%. I've rounded it off to 5% is what you're going to get post-tax. The principal invested is 14 lakh rupees, right? In FDs. And so the amount that you get at the end of year 7, simple interest, 19,69,941 rupees. Right? This is actually on the higher end only, is because the way FDs is that, every year tax would be deducted. I have not deducted that. This will actually be even lower at the end of year 7, but I'm going to give it to you. And so you can have it at 19,69,000, but this is actually going to be even lower. The total effective cost is minus 191,895, which is okay, but it's not all that great, right? If you look at all of these different scenarios, this one is pretty average. So this is on loan against FD, right? It's okay, nothing great. Let's come to personal name. Again, all of this remains similar because you're getting the interest rate at 8%. Your interest paid is 4,32,964, but you don't get any depreciation here. And so this becomes flat. You don't get any depreciation. Tax saved at 30% is zero. All of this is zero. Annual rate of interest is 5%. Principal invested is 14 lakhs. Amount at the end of year is all the same. Total effective cost is actually, instead of you making money out of this whole thing, you're now paying 1 lakh rupees. So this is absolutely the worst scenario in all the different scenarios that we discussed right now, because you're not getting any depreciation benefit. So I think, look, when does a loan against FD make sense? I think it makes sense in the case of a used car. It makes a lot of sense then, because if you were to go get a used car financed, you would get it typically at a personal loan rate of interest, which is around 12-13%. But I think loan against FD probably makes a lot more sense there, where you could actually get a much better rate of interest at 8% compared to what you would get otherwise if you were to do a used car financing. The other thing I wanted to cover is loan against mutual funds. So let's also quickly see that. Again, this is scenario 6. You can look at scenario 6A as business name, 6B as personal name. So let's go through it one by one. Now, ex-showroom remains the same. On-road price remains the same. Down payment, we've assumed 2,39,000. Loan amount, again, to keep it apples to apples, is at 14 lakh. Interest rate here is 10.5%. So I looked at some leading loan against mutual fund platforms, and they give about 10.5% in terms of the interest rate if you were to pledge your mutual funds. And it's not a bad option actually, and I'll tell you why. Term is 84, EMI, again, we've done the same way. We went to the EMI calculator on your favorite website, put it out, it comes to 23,605. The total interest that you pay over 7 years is 5,82,000, and therefore the total cost of the car, which is essentially your on-road price plus the interest that you are paying, comes to 22,21,000, right? Depreciation remains the same. Total depreciation 9.79 lakhs. Tax saved is almost 3 lakh rupees. Now let's come to the other part, the annual rate of returns, right? Post-tax. Now again, I have assumed that these are your mutual funds that were giving you 12% pre-tax. So post-tax is 10.5%. Incidentally, 10.5% is the same as 10.5% here in interest rate. So you will be like, hey, but this should just balance each other out and I should not be making money. But how is it that then this is turning out to be so much more beneficial for me? So what essentially is happening is that loan against mutual funds is also a reducing balance loan, which means that it is the principal amount over these 7 years is actually diminishing. And that's something that helps in compounding. And in this case, the annual return is actually compounding the other way, right? Your principal is increasing, and therefore the 10.5%, even though the rate of return is the same, the money that you are getting at the end of the 7 years is higher than what you're paying as EMIs. And that's why you see this minus 9,64,000 as the benefit here that you've been able to get when you buy the car. So essentially, even though 10.5% is the same, what ends up happening is, because the loan is at a reducing balance, which is a good thing, and this is obviously not on a reducing balance, the amount that you have invested, and that's why you are, and the amount at the end of year 7 is 28,92,000, which is a lot higher than what you have actually paid. So that's how this works out. Hope that is clear. You are better off in this loan against mutual fund in your business's name compared to loan against FD, and it's a pretty significant difference again, right? So if you have mutual funds already, this is not a bad thing. You do not need to liquidate them. Maybe you can actually let them compound and take a loan against mutual fund against them in your business name, right? Same is the case with the personal name. The only thing different here is that you do not save on the depreciation. And so that's the only difference here, that pretty much the 9,64,000 minus 2,93,000 comes to 6,70,000. And that's essentially why this is how it is. And this again is much better than the loan against FD. So I know a lot of people don't consider loan against mutual funds as a viable option, and there's not enough awareness about it. But I thought I'd also cover this because this is not a bad option, and you could check it out. So that brings us to the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family who are probably in the market to buy a car and can use this Excel sheet. I will leave this in my Substack, so you can go check it out there and make a copy of it. To make a copy of the Excel sheet, click on File, click on Make a Copy, and then you'll get a copy that you can edit. A lot of people ask me for edit access. Please don't ask me for edit access. Just go make a copy. I'll actually show you how to do it. Go here, click on File, click on Make a Copy. You'll get it like this. Just click on Make a Copy, and then it'll be in your drive, all yours, right? Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100K subs. Your support means a lot. Thank you, and see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.